Let's take a little look back of what's happened during the pandemic. In the spring of 2020, the university's first reaction was to shut things down, was to convert to being 100% online and sending the on-campus residents home. Then it became, what about fall of 2020? And that moved all over the board, from original plans to be largely in person to, in the end, being hybrid or substantially remote. That changed the campus landscape significantly in the 2020-2021 year. 2021, however, brought the kids largely back to campus, and the focus was on testing and vaccination. So there's your landscape of what's happened in higher education as students moved from on-campus to off-campus, back to on-campus. That's what's happening in American higher education. So in fall 2021, if you look at the big picture, university enrollments were down. However, there was a giant flight to quality, and the most selective universities, their enrollment were up, and maybe surprisingly, enrollments were down at community colleges, perhaps where the resources were the most constrained in the middle of the pandemic. In the fall, occupancies on campus were brought back, whereas in fall 2020, universities de-densified. They reduced the capacity on campus by 20 to 50%. In fall 2021, they largely brought the majority of their students back to campus, knowing they could be vaccinated and they could be tested. So fall 2021 was a remarkable year, the academic year 2021-22, a remarkable year for off-campus student housing. Occupancies are up almost 5% as compared to fall 2020. That's remarkable, up 5%. Pre-leasing for next year is up 6.5% in off-campus housing. Collections, plus 99% in our portfolio, and show-up rate, the percentage of students who sign leases all year long for the upcoming year, as high as it's ever been in the industry, over 99.5% show-up rate in our portfolio. To put that in context, let's start with 2020, when the capital markets absolutely seized up. There was no debt, there was no equity in the second quarter or the third quarter of 2020. Then, when the students showed up to move into their student apartments in the fall of 2020, the markets opened up again, no surprise. And the fall of 2020 was actually the third highest fall in investment sales of the last 6 years, in the middle of a pandemic. Now move into 2021, and 2021 was an incredibly robust year. Tremendous amount of investment sales. The debt markets opened back up. By way of example, during COVID in 2020, most lending institutions required COVID reserves. We did 2 refinancings and had to put 10% of loan proceeds in COVID reserves. Those have now been released, and COVID reserves have now disappeared from the market. So debt's available, equity's available. It's a return to normalcy in the investment sales marketplace in 2021. Student housing has never had as optimistic an outlook as it does looking forward in 2022. There's tremendous amount of debt. It's still very inexpensive. There's a tremendous amount of equity. International capital is flowing back into the United States. Institutional capital is hungry. Student housing cap rates are higher than multifamily, driving more capital in student compared to the historical past when you look at multifamily. 2022 is going to be a very, very robust year. It's a good time to sell, but it's also an opportunistic time to buy. But be selective. Be selective in your markets, be selective in your universities, be selective in your partners.